Hi guys, I'm Sam from the Unity of Life and welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to briefly talk about wolf communication, because we've been talking about wolves quite a bit. But other than that, because this is generally how other animals communicate as well. So let's continue, shall we? So wolves, as you may have guessed, they use many different ways to communicate with each other. They may use visual signs, sounds, smells, taste, touch, and pheromones. So in case you're not aware what a pheromone is, it's a chemical that's excreted from the body, and it's sort of what attracts a male to a female. It's a little bit like a hormone, but humans aren't really good at picking up on these at all. So communication is very important for animals, especially animals that live in family groups. Communication in wolves is very important to help socialize, sustainability. It also reinforces the pack hierarchy. Young wolves learn how to survive through communication. A wolf can express emotions and its intent by the way it communicates to other wolves. Wolf communication is very complex, as each individual has a unique way in which it communicates, which you would assume so, because it's the same as with us, like how we have like different accents and different tones into our voices. It's a similar way for different wolves and different individuals of animals as well. So we're going to have a look at a little bit of vision communication, which in wolves it's shown with their body language and their facial expressions. So it's kind of like how your domesticated dog is going to read you, because it cannot for the life of it really understand what you're saying. It's the tone of your voice more than the actual words, and like I said, they also do read your body language and if your facial expressions as well, so they know when you're happy and when you're sad and when you're angry. Researchers can identify the dominant pair of wolves by the way that they show their body language, but this is after watching the pack for quite some time. You have to observe the pack and get to know its behaviors before you can, and each individual, before you can turn around and say, well, this is the dominant male and this is the dominant female, so they must be mum and dad, because these things aren't always going to be apparent straight away. So it does take a bit of time of observation, quite a few hours of observation. If you are lucky enough to find one, find a pack of wolves in the first place, because they don't like people, so it's really hard to find or track a wolf in the wild, because they're very curious creatures, but they're very scared of humans as well. So in a wolf pack, they communicate by using the dominant and submissive behaviours. So a dominant wolf may carry its tail high and stand tall, whereas a wolf in lower status may carry its tail down and lower its body in a submissive crouch, whilst pawing more at the dominant wolves. Other things that they do, so like a dominant wolf will tower over a submissive wolf, and the submissive wolf will lick the mouth of the dominant one, and it'll also present its belly and its throat, because that's actually quite a vulnerable position for a wolf to be in. So looking at this guy here in the middle, he is, in case you're not really aware, he's a really angry, peeved off wolf, okay? Someone's peed in his salad. He's not happy about it. And I'm sorry, but it's gone on to the next slide, so I'm just going to continue where I was, because I do not know for the life of me how to use this stupid piece of software. So anyway, from that picture, when a wolf is angry, it may stick its ears up and it'll bare its teeth. A suspicious wolf may have its ears back and it's like squinting in its eyes. And when a wolf wants to play with a member of its pack, it will demonstrate a play bow, like your domesticated dog does. And this is where they have their front paws on the floor and they have their bum in the air and the tails sort of in the air. You will have seen it with your domesticated dogs quite a lot. Now, for this particular slide that we are on now, one of the more common ways to communicate is through sound. So you know, a wolf's going to use that for hearing, right? So the most infamous sound that comes from a wolf is his blood-curdling howl. And these wolves, they have many different types of howls that mean different things. One reason a wolf may howl is it's trying to find its pack, and there does not appear to be any signs of distress in the body language. So this is a little video, and I'm going to play it because this video does work. And I want you to be able to see what you can hear in the background as well. So those wolves, those you could hear, were responding to other wolves in the distance. So before those three that you saw on that screen started to howl, it was because there was some howling going on in the background. So these wolves, there's a variety of different reasons for this to happen. So the wolves in the video, they are responding to other wolves in the distance. Which is what we've just said. So these could be members of their own den that they're communicating with. But they are very clever wolves. We've already established this in other videos. And if they've worked out, if they howl together, then they can make another nearby pack, like a rival pack, feel like there's more of them. So like there's not just these three. And if the pack feels as if maybe there's like 20 plus of them and there's only 5 of them of the rival pack, then the rival pack isn't going to be challenging our 3 little amigos here, because they're like, oh my god, there's loads of wolves, it's just not worth the risk, and they go and find somewhere a little bit safer, because they can't see these wolves, so they don't realise there's actually only 3 and they're just tricking them. So wolves, like most animals, of their own individual sound, and this means that the pack, they know how they know who it is when they get lost. They can also tell if it's a lone wolf, it's a member of the pack, or if it's a rival. And the alpha wolf may howl to keep another packs away. And wolves, they bark when they sense danger, which isn't the same type of bark as what your domesticated dog does. So I have got an audio there of a wolf barking and a puppy howling and a wolf growling, not actually in my face, that's just the title of the YouTube video which we took the audio from. I will play them all at the end because it is very difficult to get the audio to stop and then for the next one to sort of start, and you might not get through all of them because it might just click on to the other slide. I don't know why it does this, but it does. So pups will howl in response to the adults who are returning to the den with food, and when the pups start to move around with the rest of the pack, they begin to learn which vocalizations belong to which member of their family. So other sounds that a wolf makes are like the barks, the growls, the whines and the whimpers. And something interestingly to note is the barking, it's less common in wolves than dogs, because we bred that into the domesticated dogs, okay? So growls and snarls are used as a threat to rival pack members, and it's a warning to stay away. Whines and whimpers are often sounds of a friendly interaction, but can be made when a wolf feels stressed or anxious as well. So I'm going to play these audios, and I hope to God that you'll be able to hear all of them and that they stop and start, but we'll see, okay? Fingers crossed, but we'll see. So this one is an alarm bark. cutest sound you've ever heard, isn't it? Okay, so I'm sorry about that, because it did seem as if they just played over the top of each other, which is very annoying and very frustrating. But like I said, it's just something I don't know why or how, but it just doesn't want to play ball. So, scent. So I've got some more notes to do on another video that's just on scent communication in wolves, which we can talk about this particular communication in a lot more detail than what we're going to be doing now. So stick around for that. So scent is very important for wolves. It's one of the most important ways of communication. So each individual has its own scent, as you should be aware, because it's pretty common knowledge. It's the same with us as well. It's not just wolves, it's any living creature. They all have their own scent, and this is why we can train dogs in the police to be able to find the person that they're looking for, a person of interest. You know, like, I don't know if you've ever seen Hudson and Rex, and that's set in Canada, and that's about a Canadian detective and with his police dog Rex, who he really shouldn't have, but the rules were bent and he got him, and he'll have some clothing, like if there's a missing person, for example, he'll have some clothing of that person, and he'll get Rex to sniff it, and he tells him to go find. So that's Rex picking up and tracking the scent of that individual person, so they can find that person quicker than what they maybe would be able to without Rex's nose. So scent can help wolves know if there's a rival has been in their territory, and if that wolf was male or female. Yep, they're very clever with this. So scent can also help them find prey and other pack members. For the alpha male and female, scent is very important, as the scent of coming from the alpha female can tell the alpha male whether or not the alpha female is ready to mate. So wolves, they also scent mark in very different ways, and I'm just gonna like go over this really quickly, because I don't believe it's actually mentioned in here, but these scents, so is really important to a wolf, because a wolf can tell, again, whether it's male or female, how old this individual is, how long it's been since this individual was in this spot, this particular environment, and they can also tell the reproductive status of this male or female as well. So it's quite a lot of information that they're getting from scent alone. So the alpha male, he will urinate to scent mark by cocking his leg, which you see in this upper picture here, and you'll see your domesticated dogs do it all the time. Well, your male domesticated dogs, and that's only if you've castrated them at a later date rather than when they were really young puppies, because apparently if they're castrated when they're really young puppies, they've not learnt to cock their leg. I suppose there's no need to, because the testosterone isn't going to be as strong in their scent anymore. And females and subordinate males, they squat, because they don't want their scent to be overpowering the alphas. Where the alpha obviously decocks his leg, he can get that scent up at higher places. So males scent mark more than what the females do, and this is because testosterone has a stronger smell than the female hormones. Another way in which wolves can scent mark is through defecation markings, so their poop carries the smell. and basically when they poo, it encourages the anal glands to release a hormone that other wolves can smell. Another way for wolves to scent mark is by scratching and pawing. They do this on the trees, and after they've pooped, you'll see this with your dogs. They'll kind of scratch with them, and this is just to this, so they like this releases hormones which other wolves can smell from the glands in their paws, because they actually have glands in their paws as well that carry their scent. It's all very clever stuff, really. Pheromones, everybody's favourite. I don't know about you, but I'm fed up of talking and learning about pheromones. But anyway, I appreciate that not everybody knows about pheromones and have not spent the last 6 years learning about them. So, pheromones are chemicals that send messages from one animal to another of the same species. Pheromones are what give the wolves their individual scent to some extent. Pheromones help the wolves know when a female is ready to mate. And pheromones are used to scent markings. They're released when the wolf is urinating and defecating, and when a wolf smells the urine or the feces, they can get a lot of information about the wolf that left the messages behind. They can tell the gender, the age, if the wolf's pregnant or not, if it's in heat, or if the wolf is stressed. They can also find out if another wolf has been in their territory, which is kind of what I was touching on before. Taste. Smell has a big influence on how things taste. You might be aware of this. If you don't like how a food product smells, you generally find you don't like how it tastes. And this is because your mouth and your nose are connected, which again is common knowledge and most people already know this. So one way in which wolves use taste to communicate with each other is through grooming behaviour. Grooming strengthens the bond between pack members. Grooming also occurs during the courtship process. When a wolf has been injured, its fellow pack members will groom it to provide physical and mental comfort. So that's what's going on in this little corner here, this top corner. This wolf here is grooming this wolf here. Puppies, so this bottom picture here, also communicate with their pack when they're about 3 weeks of age, and the puppies will start to lick the mouth of an adult wolf. So just like this little guy here is doing to this adult wolf. Now this adult wolf might be another sibling, or it might be mum, or it might be dad. I'm not sure. And the licking stimulates the adult wolf to cough up and regurgitate the food that they've just eaten from a hunt for the pups to be able to eat. I know it's a bit gross, but that's just the way that they do it. Now these obviously look like wolves. These two pictures, these little wolves are hugging each other, but we're not allowed to say that they're hugging each other in the biological sense, in the behavioural sense, because it's a human emotion. They're just touching. So this is a very important sense. Touch amongst wolves is used in a greeting or during play. As pups grow, they play with their siblings and parents, and this is the first steps towards learning how to hunt. So playing is very important for them. Though a lot of people would argue that they're not playing; it's a human thing, so that they're actually just socially it's a social interaction that helps them learn. And on the last slide, I already mentioned that was they groom each other, and the pups lick the adult's mouths for food. So this obviously also involves touching. Submissive wolves may also show their submission by touching the more dominant wolf. And touch is also involved when fighting off rival pack members, because they scratch and they bite each other. Which is probably why a lot of them die at such a young age, because of like infections as well. So let's have a look at how these communication signals, that these really complex communication signals that these wolves in particular have, that they use, can reduce this fighting between conspecifics. So conspecifics is just two members of the same species that are part, in this case, that are part of two different packs. Because at the end of the day, you really don't want to be getting into a fight, because they fight to the death most of the time, and it's not very beneficial for you to die. You know, the whole point of you being alive is to survive and to go on to reproduce and to eat. You can't do any of that when you're dead. So, one way in which wolves can reduce fighting with rival packs is by communal howling, like what we heard in that video a few slides back, and this would work for the protection of the den, as well as a few little wolves will stay behind the den to look after pups, which we've already discussed. The way this works is by tricking the rival pack into thinking that the whole pack is there and that there is more of them. If this works, then the rival pack will carry on their way with without disturbing the other pack. So one way in which stops pack members from fighting amongst themselves, because it's family, there's going to be family disputes, is by having a standoff. So both wolves, they'll make themselves look as fierce and brutal as they possibly can until one submits, and they do this by rolling over and showing the dominant wolf its belly. So, to conclude, conclusion, the senses are very important for wolves to communicate with one another. Like any animal, a wolf needs to learn how to communicate with its fellow pack members and what different things mean in order to survive. A wolf pup also needs to learn who its allies are and who its rivals are. With the guidance of the pup's family, it will learn that the communication skills it will need later on in life. So there's a standoff, and there's just a few behaviours there of basically what a wolf is doing. So that this here in this top corner is all about the sort of the standoff, and they're trying to not fight each other. And obviously this is scent marking down here. We've got some calming signals, which you can read through all of here. I'm not going to read that out to you because I'm sure you can read just for yourself. And if I'm not giving you enough time, you can always just pause it. So this slide so you can read it if you want to. And I don't know why that's a communication is a conclusion slide, but we've just gone through the conclusion, so I don't know what happened there. So okay, this maybe wasn't like a huge success, but I am doing my best. I don't know what's going on with the particular software. I've not really used it that often, but anyway, so that's all I have today on like sort of wolf communication. If you feel as if somebody you know, you feel like you've learned from this and you think somebody else could learn from this, then share this video. If you haven't already, then subscribe to my face, which will be down on the bottom of the screen. And if you want to see any other animal related sort of videos that I've done, then you can click on the playlist. When you subscribe, don't forget to turn on that notification bell, and you then will be notified every Wednesday and Saturday when I upload a video. And that is it for now, so I will see you in the next one. Bye.